What's up, legends? I said it last week and I'm going to say it again. I think people who are waiting for higher time frame, deeper pullbacks to get in on this move to the upside are probably not going to get the entry that they're looking for. And in this video, I'm going to explain why. We're going to take a look at the weekend price action, which is always a hint of who is trapped. And by understanding who is trapped, it helps us to anticipate the next move. In addition to that, I'm also going to talk a little bit about Ethereum in this video, in particular the 𝗧𝗿𝗃 pair. So if you're interested in learning all of those things, be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and turn that bell notification to all so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you are here for the first time, just a warning, I do have my own trading language that is not Googleable, and a lot of the times you're like, what is she talking about? But I do try to bring it back once I get out of my element and make sure that I'm making things as clear as possible. For those of you that have been watching for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now let's get into this weekend price action. Now what you're seeing on the screen right here is an update that I did into the Discord on Sunday. So I make a habit on Sunday night before the dead gap zone, a few hours before, I try to do an update on what I think the weekend price action has done so far to give the community a little bit of a heads up as to which way the fake move week beginning might happen, because it can come in any time on the Sunday. Now the actual market opens 5 p.m. Sunday New York, but sometimes there is an early move. So I never worry too much about Saturday price action. I don't trade Saturdays. I just come back on Sunday and I have a look, who have they damaged on Saturday? And that's what I'm going to explain to you in this video. This was the update that I did to the community, and you can see here I made a couple of notes. Here I said rising open interest plus sideways price plus low volume equals breakout coming, stop hunt not necessary. So usually fake move week beginning, if we get a stop hunt, it's very easy to see who they're trapping. But the rising open interest shows us that retail traders are committing over the weekend. And so sometimes they don't need the stop hunt because the stop hunt is designed to trigger pending orders. So if we have rising open interest, that means we've already got committed traders. And, you know, for all we know, they may have enough commitment to just make a move out. And the fact that it's sideways price and low volume tells you that that's retail traders. I also noted here that we still have 30 billion delta to the long, so it makes sense that market maker might give us a move down to collect at least some of that before potential continuation upwards. We've got a really large spike at 30,175. And that's what I wanted to show you here on High Block. I've not refreshed this intentionally so that I can show you. See here, hey, we have this big pink spike out here to the side. That's where I got that number from. When I hover over it, you can see it's 30,175. And at the time on a chart, it's right here, this liquidation level right here. So when price was in this zone here, it kind of made sense that we may get a stop hunt down here and then a potential change in trend, and that would qualify the fake move week beginning. So to go through what happened on the weekend, from the time US closed, which is where this box started, that's where the price closed up there, somewhere around 30,891. And from there, Saturday, we just stayed in this range. And the first spike out of the range that we can see from that US close is this little green hammer right here. Now, a little green hammer like that, it triggers pending orders. So what would happen is price is moving sideways. Somebody may draw this as a support now. So if it breaks that support now, then I want to be sure, and it could happen fast. So I'm going to put my sell stop just below here. And then the market maker comes in, wicks price down, triggers those sell stops, and then moves back out to the upside, leaving those people in a drawdown at risk of being liquidated. So that's what happens in a spike here. And then you can see here when it spikes to the upside out of that zone, that's liquidating them. So that is the damage done. And at the same time, it does the opposite, where these right here are now triggering pending long orders, right? So at the time they're stopping out shorts, they also trigger longs. At the time they're stopping out longs, they also trigger shorts. So now this trap is done with because the high leverage 100x traders, they're already liquidated here. Now we've got new high leverage 100x longs trapped here. And as we can pretty much count on at the beginning of the week, every week, that we do then come for what we call a fake move week beginning. So a fake move is the stop hunt that stops out the people that are in open positions over the weekend. And we can see here that this move down here, followed by that green hammer buy buying right up, it liquidated all of those liquidations that we saw that were at 30,175. Now, following a move like that, whether it's to the upside or downside, you then look for a W or M formation. So if the move is to the downside, you look for a W. If the fake move is to the upside, you look for an M. So what it looks like that we have right now is this W right here, following the false move week beginning. So far, everything is looking as it's meant to. We also have a high volume break of the 50 EMA. Let's go into this wider. So we do have a high volume break of the 50 EMA. Once it does that, it usually makes a run for the 200 EMA. Then we expect either price to go into a board meeting just sideways, or it comes back for a retrace where it's either going to retest the 50 EMA, create a higher low, or it's just going to come back to recover a vector that has just recently been created. So if we do get a retracement pullback now, that area of interest there that I've marked would be a good area for a long position, providing it held. So just to be very, very clear, a W formation is not confirmed until it retests and holds the level and maintains the new structure, meaning it gives us another higher low in comparison to the second peak of the W. Whilst a W looks like this, where it's literally just a W with no retest, it absolutely can fail and continue down even further. And the reason that we're also very much at risk of that is because right now, as I'm filming this, price has only spiked into the initial high of the day, which is at 30,579. So this candle is not closed yet, but that's not ideal. Like, we do like to see, if we're going to get a W, we like to see these levels here broken with volume. And look, it may take a couple of attempts before it happens, but at this point in time, it has not happened. So with these key levels, once price returns there, we want to have a look at the volume. So we want a volume spike that breaks right through it. If it does, we expect continuation to the upside. If we get a high spike in volume with a very bearish looking candle that rejects it, then the move to the downside might not be over. So that is what I would be watching. By the time I've uploaded this video, it would have already happened, but hopefully we either just move into a board meeting from here, or we come back and we do hold this area of interest for continuation to the upside. And if that's the case, then when I mentioned higher time frame traders on the 4-hour time frame looking for deep pullbacks, if we have a look at the 4-hour time frame, now you can see if we already have the W on the 15-minute time frame, we're just waiting for a retest of it. That is no sort of pullback on the 4-hour time frame. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, higher time frame trader is going to be drawing fibs from the low to the high and looking for a long position at the 38.50 or the 61.8 all the way down here. And look, we do have pretty big liquidation levels down there, and even if price did come all the way down, it would be great. I'm just not so sure that it's going to be that easy. It also doesn't really make sense that this right here, even though I understand it's a resistance level, it doesn't make sense that it stopped before a vector candle. That's not usually how it works. Usually when you have your rises, price will stop somewhere either just below, in between, or at the top of a vector candle. And we didn't have that on this spike here on Friday. So that's what has me thinking we may go up from here into this zone before there is any decent pullback. Now, do I think a decent pullback is coming? Yeah, 100%, because when we look at this high block, we're still at 19 billion delta to the longs, right? So we still have a lot more people long than short. Actually, let me refresh this. So yesterday, last night when I did that update, this delta was at 30 billion. Let's look where it is now. It's now at 11, so that's 20 billion overnight difference. But I do have to make it clear, this only shows the visible range. So there could still be open positions from before the 22nd of June that are now no longer showing on this chart. So don't think that 20 billion has been liquidated. It's just not in this visible range anymore. But it's still useful information to us because, especially on a Monday, when the market maker tries to stop out open positions, they're only looking 2 to 3 days back as to who's been trapped in that time. So going back to 22nd of June is plenty of data for this purpose. So to summarize on Bitcoin, I am looking for a move to the upside, and look, it looks like it's really wanting to break that initial high of the day as I'm filming this. But I am looking for continuation simply because because this looks like false move week beginning to me. It took out that high liquidation level. It like refueled for the market maker, right? It gave us the W formation and it's broken the 50 EMA with volume and it's attempting to break the initial high of the day for now. So if it's successful in all of that, then we still have the higher level liquidation levels from last week that I spoke about that price hasn't yet tapped into. And that's that one up here, that juicy one that I'm really interested in at 31,733. But I'm going to see if there are any new ones that have opened over the weekend. And we can see here, there is a lot to the upside. I'm just going to quickly pause this video, mark them all on the chart and come back to you. All right, guys. So what I'm about to show you is on the chart, I've marked these high levels here that really spike out the most. And then also these two down here that are closer to price because they will be most significant for now. So when we have a look at the chart, that's what this looks like here. And now it makes sense why we're having this struggle at the initial high of the day, because that's the first most closest high level of liquidations right there. So it's very, very important to us that price can break the 30,597 if we're going to have continuation to the upside. Now, like I said, because it's the first attempt at that level, I would not worry if we came down, create a higher low, then went forward on the next attempt, or we just consolidate here for a while whilst the market maker accumulates more contract, then we go for it as well. But the other thing too is because that's a high level of liquidation, if it cannot break the initial high of the day, then this W may fail and it may go down to the downside. So if you're looking for longs, definitely wait for that retest. Wait for it to prove to you that at a minimum there is a higher low, or we consolidate, and in the consolidation you start to look for stop hunts and things like that, and that gives you the hint that we're going to have continuation to the upside. Now, if we can break through that 30,597, the other levels are up here that I've marked on the chart. I won't read them all out, but the main thing is it's not about the price really, it's about where they sit. So this one replaces the one that I just told you. It's now a 31,805, and this shaded area right here is the daily time frame unrecovered vector. So that would be right at the bottom of it, which is very interesting. And then this one up here would be within it, which is at 32,430. And so just in case you have not been on this channel before, this right here is the unrecovered daily vector that I've been talking about. This is the one I want to see price come to try and recover, because we've rejected multiple times now. And if we're really going to have this final leg to the upside, we've got to get at least into this zone and then ideally break through it before there's a chance of getting to the next one higher, which we won't bother talking about until we deal with this one right here. Now let's quickly talk about Ethereum. Ethereum had quite different price action because we basically just chopped between the same highs and the same lows all weekend. But at the end of the day, all altcoins basically just follow Bitcoin unless they've got some specific news that makes the pump price in that moment. But for the most part, when there's nothing going on, they all just follow each other. So we expect this. We got this move back to the low of the weekend, and then also a W formation with another hammer right here. We've broken the 50 EMA with volume. We've rejected the initial high of the day. Literally everything is the same. So there's not a lot of point in me wasting a lot of time on this one, because everything I said about Bitcoin applies to Ethereum as well. But what I do want to talk about is ETH-BTC. And this right here is why. So Ethereum on the weekly time frame is heading into the tail end of this triangle squeeze situation. It's currently above the 200 EMA, but below the 50 EMA, which is kind of a no trade zone. But we do have this vector hammer over here that bounced right off the 200 EMA. So on the weekly time frame, if price were to come back and retest that area at the bottom of this triangle and hold around the 200 EMA or hold this trend line, then that could be your hint that a breakout is going to come soon, potentially to the upside if it holds that level. So on a macro kind of scale, it's looking great. So now that you have that in mind, you go to smaller time frames to look for potential entries. And when we have a look at the 4-hour time frame, you can see here that we've had 1, 2, 3 hits to the downside here. We're holding above this vector candle zone right here, which is a 4-hour zone. But at the same time, we've not yet broken the 50 EMA. So even though we're currently holding, we could just be holding until it breaks down and creates another new level. Like here, you would have thought it was holding, then it just went down again. So this isn't the confirmation that something's going to change soon. The confirmation will be when it does break the area of interest here and the 50 EMA, change the structure, then you'd be a little bit more inclined to think that ETH-BTC might break out to the upside soon. And if it does that, probably all altcoins will run as well, or not not all, but the good ones. And so now we have all of that in mind. When you come down to the 1 hour to snipe a potential entry, you can see that price is basically just in a board meeting off the 50 EMA, and it hasn't attempted the 200 yet. So for me on this one, I'm really watching it closely. I want to see ETH BTC on the 1 hour time frame break my area of interest, which is also the high of the day. I want to see it break it, change a structure for after that break, and then go through for the 200 EMA, finally back up to the high of the week. So keeping a close eye on this. I do like that even though this is not the greatest looking W formation, it is a W at this point in time. It is a W. It has broken the 50 EMA with volume. It has come back for a retest. The only problem with it, and why I don't think it's time to make a move on it just yet, is because once it did all of that, it's created a lower high, which is not fantastic, but then it's also created a high low. So it's just in a tricky situation where it could be a case of this current board meeting is just giving us a triangle. That's possible as well. So, but to be safe, we want to get above that high of the day, get above, retest, give us some confirmation that we're out of this annoying zone, and then things could get good. So definitely keep an eye on that one. And if you're looking for somewhere to trade, check out OKX. It is my preferred exchange. They have a lot of options on there. Spot trading, leverage trading, you can earn, you can copy trade. There's a lot of things that you can do. And they currently have a bonus at the moment where you can earn up to $60,000 in rewards for completing tasks. And if you cannot trade on OKX, then check out the links in the description of this video for some other exchange options. And whilst you're there, also have a look at the Traders Toolkit, because that will give you details on how you can join the TTC tribe if you are wanting to learn this method in full. Have an amazing day, guys. Remember, always wait for your confirmations, and I'll see you on the next one.